information on his location, or he reports himself directly for investigations. Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Alexander Obeng, has been speaking to TV3.
Members of the general public who have stood by us all these years to support us in searching and looking out for and forthcoming with relevant information that will assist Ghana Police Service and the lead investigator in locating where Charles is, so that the rest of the responsibility of police in terms of the service that's required will be rendered. And so I'll use this opportunity to once again admonish all to be forthcoming with any information they have about where Shatta Wale is. At this point, we have not laid hands on him. Nobody have indicated that he has seen him or her, and therefore we pray that police is assisted.
You heard the Superintendent Alexander Obeng. He is the Police Public Affairs Director, speaking to us on this particular development. In the last few minutes, the Shatta Movement boss has been making some updates on his Facebook page. In one of them, he says, the IGP, I am not hiding, but I have information and I'm acting on what I know. I have reported this before and you guys are telling me to come and report again. Oh, Ghana, I'm bad. He makes another post and says he is simply losing his mind. Let's get on Zoom now and speak to Justice Abdullahi. He's a private legal practitioner. Thank you, Justice Abdullahi, for joining us. Are there any, legal, consequences that arise as a result of what has been happening over the last 12 hours?
Indeed, there are lots of legal implications for the entire conduct of Shatta Wale, and including some of the people who were with him, who were alleged to have confirmed the incident, the happening of the incident, and others who have used their phones to publish the false information. Just on top of my head, I can think of not less than 5 different offenses that could be charged on these persons and their boss. Now, I think it is a dangerous conduct which we must condemn, and we must ensure that it's investigated and prosecuted in accordance with law. Because, we all understand the circumstances that we find ourselves in. There's so much public information on kidnapping, abduction, and a host of other offenses designed in that light. And so I do not think we will need to put so much fear and panic within the public space. And the best way to avoid that is to ensure that we do prosecute when they need be. Okay. And this is one such typical example of an issue that I want prosecuted swiftly.
Okay. Now, I know that 208 section 1 speaks about publication of false news. You also mentioned that there are a number of offenses that arise. Just briefly run through for us so we can be clear.
You may have to repeat that.
Yes, I just wanted you to run through some of the legal consequences.
Indeed.
There. Yes.
Indeed, we can think of section 208, that is the publication of false information. You can think of even 209, that is if there was indeed a discharge of firearms, as he alleged, that it was shot. You can think of abetment and conspiracy and compounding crime. All these are possible offenses that they could be charged with in the light of the events that we are dealing with.
Okay, and now we also know that stemming from the prophecy that was made by the man of God, that he saw that on the 18th of October, armed robbers attacked Shatta Wale, or a dancehall artist, and killed him. The police are saying that they are also either have picked up the prophet in question or are looking for him. I wonder if prophecies also fall under some portion of a section that we've spoken about, and whether or not he flies in the face of the law.
Indeed, depending on the nature of the prophecy, it could be, it could potentially lead a person to be investigated, to be called upon to question as to the veracity of some of the information that they put out there. Indeed, particularly when the prophecy is in line with the death of that person. The dangerous aspect of this is that someone can act upon the prophecy, not necessarily because it is true, and just to ensure that it comes to fruition. And indeed, it is actually because of that when a person is alleged to be potentially a victim of murder or any of these kinds of crime, it's better to report to the police. So the minimum, you can either have a police protection or get the matter investigated.
Okay.
And either way, it inures to the benefit of all of us, rather than sitting back and pulling up stunts that are very dangerous for the existence, for our security existence. But the entire architecture of our nation is under stress when some of these matters are reported, particularly when it involves public officials, artists and stars that are well known out there. It puts the whole country and the demeanor of the country in that kind of mood of fear and panic. And I don't think that's what we need going forward.
Before I let you go, just Abdullah, so before I got on air, I went onto Shatta Wale's Facebook page. He had made another post. He says he was acting based on information available to him. So he told the IGP that he's not hiding and that he's only acting based on information available to him. He has once reported this incident to the police and nothing has happened. Would it be right for Shatta Wale to say, for example, that the police, because they've not acted or have been seen to have been acting on the report, he can then take an action like this?
That is not enough justification for the commission of a crime of this nature.
Okay.
It is rather enough justification for a petition to be sent to the other security agencies to further the investigation. So, for instance, if we have indeed spoken to the IG or lodged an official complaint and it hasn't been investigated, you have to move further to, say, the national security and other security agencies and inform them of the pendency of the existing complaints at the IGP's office, so that they may probably call for those files and attempt some form of investigations. It is indeed true that sometimes the police do not act when we expect them to act. It is also a fact that sometimes they do act, but without giving us the feedback on what they do. Right. And so you just don't leave such things to lie. You have to continuously prompt the authorities that are in charge of these things, so that you can have the best outcome when the need arises.
All right.
If nothing at all, nothing is done, there will be that trail of complaints that have been lodged in the past, and that could be a basis for us to even make a decision going forward. You may be a victim, but at least other persons their lives could be saved because of your particular conduct.
All right. Thank you very much, Justice Abdullah, the private legal practitioner. Always, we appreciate that you make time to speak to us and break down the issues. Meanwhile, Hip Life grandpapa Reggie Rockstone has been reacting to the stunt by the dancehall artist Shatta Wale. He says the bulletproof hit maker went a bit too far this time, even though the stunts like these are normal in the industry. He also wants the police to be fair in exacting sanctions.
Yeah, that was a little extreme. You know, Shatta is a non-conformist, we all know this. But to play with death is not really, I think there's a level, you know. As far as what I think about the whole story, I mean, I call me BP, Jack, and Ra. Not me phone, what am I saying? And we love you, you know, we don't want to lose you. It shouldn't even, and it's even worse because people have spoken death on his name quite a few times. And you know, at my own, and it was a horrible journey. It wasn't very nice. I wouldn't wish for him to be so. He's my comrade. He's my young brother. To be cautioned and maybe spoke to. I mean, you don't know what he's going through. I would like to think that the laws would be fair and just as should be. However, like I said, I don't wish for anybody to be locked up. He's alive. He hasn't harmed anyone. I guess maybe a caution or something, a community, I don't know, something, you know. I mean, it would be up to him to explain himself. I mean, I don't even know if he's behind it. It might be some of his friends thinking it's funny. So, yeah, I wish him well, and we're happy that he's alive.